to the only podcast that has a regular rotation of guests and hosts that you all love equally. Of course, I'm here, Travis, and yeah, she's back again.
Back
Again. Jenn is
Guess
back.
who's back?
She's my friend.
I was
Guess
wondering
who's
where
back?
that one was
Guess
going to
who's
go.
back? Yeah. So anyway, Jenn's back. We know that you love it when everyone else is on, but you know you love it best when Jenn is here, and I do as well. So, Jenn,
I will
all the
openly accept the honor of being the favorite.
Of course.
You don't have to pull my arm.
As you should, because you are. Watch all the comments come in on the YouTube channel talking about how Jenn is the favorite. If you're new to the channel and new to the podcast, we welcome you. This is Tube Talk / The Boost, and we love to tell you guys and gals how to grow your YouTube channels, and we do that through, well, lots of different means today. We'll be answering some of the emails that have been sent in to us, and then also giving our thoughts about that and other various things. We've also started a candy war inadvertently over the course of the last couple of months, and that has gone. If you don't know what that is, you got to go back and listen to the old podcast episodes. That's how it works. What you got to do. All right, so let's get to the first message from you, the viewer, the listener. This first one will come from the text message line, which if you're listening to the audio-only podcast, in the show notes, there's a link that you can click to text us. And this is from Jacob. He's a filmmaker from Austin, Texas. Hey, Jenn and Travis, love listening to your show and been listening for a while, but I wanted to finally reach out and ask a question.
Oh.
So nice. I struggle with deciding what to do that will actually grow on YouTube.
Fair.
I think most of us do.
Hello.
As I'm sure that many creatives struggle with this. Yes, indeed, they do. By the way, Jenn, this just reminds me. Last week, you have to watch the recorded. I think it's on the main channel. One of the people wanted you to read the email. I just realized that, and I was like, Jenn's not here. And on the video on the YouTube channel, on the main channel, there's like this. So I'm like, sorry, you got to deal with it. I'm reading it.
That should happen every time you have to introduce someone that's not me.
I need to. You should
just say their name immediately followed by that sound effect.
I'm going to put that sound effect up for sure. I have a hard time picking up the right thing. I currently do comedy sketches and are sitting around 350 subscribers and working on finding my niche in that world. But I also have other ideas of doing filmmaking tutorials, podcasts on filmmaking, or even a channel on my fitness journey as I lose weight after the military. What is your guidance for really focusing in on the one thing of something that you're passionate about, but could also be a sustainable YouTube channel and business? Also, I love candy corn.
Oh, yes.
Well, you missed
I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be an also something like nice about the podcast or something.
Well, last week you missed the amazing one that I ended up laughing at, where they said candy corn isn't actually a thing. Like, there's no possible way anyone could ever. That was great. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, I got to go back and and watch that.
Anyway, so basically they're saying, they have this channel, they do comedy skits and such, and they're just trying to figure out what, quote, the right thing is. And he has a lot of different desires: filmmaking tutorials, podcasts on filmmaking, a fitness journey. Look, when you're new,
this is a big one.
That's a big one.
I could say this is the greatest problem to have as a creative, and it is so common. I get so many people in who have ideas like this that branch out even further. And it's genuinely, what do you do?
This is a big question. Let me actually, matter of fact, for the editor, I'm going to write this down. We're going to make this into a video because I think this question is so big. It's like, what niche should you niche down into? Like, what should your niche be? Because that's kind of what this question is, right? That's basically what it is.
How does someone who is like truly a diverse creative pick? How?
How, Sway?
How and what?
I'm going to go ahead real quick and make a reminder of this. Okay. So basically this email, in the editor, you can kind of take the parts where I read from the email and then go right into this. So how do you pick what niche you're in? And this particular creator, like they said, Jenn, they're into so many different things. We hear this question all the time through emails from all of the listeners here on the show. And the answer is usually the same, but in this particular case, the interests that they're passionate about are varied. So it's like the weight loss thing, making filmmaking tutorials. At what point do you think that they should really start niching down and making it about one thing rather than all of these things on their channel?
This is a tough one. And the number one thing I'll say to not do is do not start all of these channels right now.
Right.
Please.
Right. Please don't do that to yourself.
These all, yes, in best practice should be different channels. And I love like a little glimpse into the future of people like this where I'm like, if you stick to it, I know you're going to have channels for all of these things. But sticking to it with that first, we'll call it an experimental topic is the trickiest part. Not only is it your intro to YouTube, it's your intro to patience of YouTube, as well as just finding your style through video after video after video. And then, seeing what happens from there. It's the consistency of sticking to one of those things that you pick. What do you actually pick? I mean, that comes down to you as a person. Weigh out, what are you truly, truly passionate about? Is weight loss just something that you're just doing right now? Are you a total like gym rat and you're in the gym and you're just constantly researching and trying new, fitness splits and stuff? I don't know if I even use that term correctly.
What is a fitness split?
Fitness split. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Oh my God. I don't even know.
I'm like 90% sure it's a thing. Whether I said it right or not, I don't know. I should not start a fitness channel. See?
Don't do that, Jen. Don't do that to yourself. Fitness split.
So you have to decide like what has longevity to it. What is something that you're going to be able to create different variations of content about. And this is like the thinking part. It's easy to dive in and just start testing all these things out. But when you go to test something, you need to actually test it. You got to give it, I'm going to say 6 months, Travis. What are you going to say?
So this particular creator is in a situation that a lot of other creators who watch this channel are in. Small creators that are under, 500 subscribers. They're trying different things. They like different things, but they don't know like what should they niche down into because they're passionate about all these different things. And as YouTube will typically tell you, and we try to tell you too, niching down is really for the purpose of growing your channel. Doesn't mean you don't actually have to niche down as long as your expectations are in line with what that means, which means you'll have some videos that get a lot of views and some videos that get almost no views. That's just the expectation. But if you're trying to grow a channel, and exactly what this creator says is that they want to make it a business and all this other stuff, they have to look at something that A, is something that they are really passionate about and they can see themselves making videos on for years to come, hundreds of videos about the same basic subject over and over.
You make it sound like a trap.
And over and over again. Now, once you've figured that out, you can do some research on YouTube and see what other type of creators are growing in that space. And if they're successful, some niches don't have like large creators. They may cap out at like 20 or 30,000 subscribers. And that might be it. That might be the top of where the interest is, the total addressable market, the TAM as they call it. And others will have larger ones where you have millions of subscriber channels out there. So once you figure out that and you're like, yeah, I like this, for example, fitness. Now, of course, fitness is huge. You're absolutely going to be able to create a channel that is very successful in fitness if you do all the right things. So now your next step is look at who's successful in there. Look at the time that they're putting into their channel. Very likely it will be intimidating. And it should be intimidating because if you're trying to make this a full-time thing, you need to make sure that you are 100% behind it. If none of that scares you, you look at these successful channels and you're like, I can do that. Great. Start to make a plan of the type of content that is working on the channels, especially smaller channels in that niche, and start making your own version of those videos, which means thumbnails, titles, topics, the way you're going to do it, how your editing is going to look. All of those things are things you should be writing down before you even start to do it. I know most creators are like, I just want to do it. Fine. But again, your expectations should be in line with the work you're putting in. If you're putting in extra work to really figure out what works on YouTube and then do that thing, your expectation is it should perform pretty well. If you're just randomly putting stuff up, then you should put the expectation that random things are going to happen to your views. Sometimes they'll be okay, sometimes not so much.
That's the truth. Plus, you don't have to think of, niching down as like, I do hear this from a lot of creators. Well, I don't want to get stuck in that. And I don't want to do that forever and then never, be able to do anything else. And that's not necessarily the case. If you think about even just like using this fitness channel as an example, there are so many kinds of fitness channels. It is mind-blowing. The type of fitness content that you want to make is where you can go and explore with, what do you actually want to make? Are you focusing on, your routines of bulking and cutting? Are you actually, making routines for people to follow along with? Are you focusing more on the nutritional side of things? Like, there is almost like an infinite amount of places that you can go. And this is why, so many channels are super successful. They're all offering slightly different values. But that's where you creatively get to experiment and see, what feels right. What do you like to create? What do you enjoy creating, especially in the beginning stages? And then once you kind of figure out, I like this felt good, the repetition is so, so important. But the experimental process of trying to figure that out is kind of the fun part, but also totally normal for videos to flop, videos to do, better than others. This is when you figure that out, because once you figure that out and you're like, go, 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 things will be, pretty smooth sailing.
And the other side of this is, of course, if you want it to be your job, is like money. Let's be honest, money, right? RPMs across these different niches will kind of give you certain amounts of cash directly from YouTube. But I will say that actually the two that we've talked about here, fitness, and then he said also about filmmaking. Filmmaking has great RPMs, but forget about all that. With both filmmaking and weight loss, you can actually create your own digital product, which would be a lot more lucrative than just whatever you get from YouTube. Creating your own product definitely can get you from your 9 to 5 to having your YouTube dream come much faster. And some people are like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I saw. There are plenty of ways to do this, and don't get worried about it right now. But what I'm saying is these are niches that will actually get you into, quote, full-time YouTuber status faster than something like reviewing, toys or something, which may get you a whole bunch of toys from manufacturers, but may not be paying the bills at the end of the month. With something like photography or filmmaking, you're actually talking to people who have disposable income to pursue these things, and they may want to purchase either affiliate sale products that you might have links to, like a camera and stuff, which you can definitely make great money off of that. Or in the case of weight loss, if you create your own weight loss program and maybe even coach people to lose weight like you did, you can make a lot more money a lot faster with a lot less subscribers. I know a lot of channels out there that have made their own businesses and are full-time at under 30,000 subscribers, which if you try to do that with just AdSense money, it's incredibly difficult across most niches and actually impossible across many. So something to really consider, that those two niches this particular creator talked about, totally viable for a full-time career. So what niche should you choose? Well, as we said, there's a couple things to think about. Number one, is it something you're truly passionate about? If you are, then look on YouTube. Are they successful niches? If they are, amazing. You can start doing your research as to how to make your content even more successful. And of course, perhaps the most important thing, are you good at it? We've seen some people make channels on things they're not good at. If Travis had to make a channel about how to sew, no matter how
I was just going to say that. Why did you say sewing?
Because I'm in your brain.
I was literally just going to say Travis tries sewing.
Because I'm tapped in. I'm tapped into your brain. You don't know this? I was a former magician. People don't know this. This is actually a true story. Now. This is a true story. I'm actually a former magician. Anyway, back to what I was saying. If Travis tries sewing, I'm going to tell you right now, no matter how much knowledge I have about how the niche works, it's not going to be genuine. People are going to see right through it, and they're not going to subscribe to my channel. But you guys out there are great. We'd love to hear more from you. Leave us a comment below as to what type of niche you should get into and what you're into, and tell us about your success stories. And we'll see you in the next one. All right, and we ended that one like that's good. That was pretty good. Pretty good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but I did read your mind.
That was so weird, because I literally texted my sister this morning and was like, "Hey, can you ship me my sewing machine, please?" So like I'm telling you, like that's super weird.
I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna keep move on because that's pretty interesting. I didn't know you did that. We did not have that conversation before we started recording. We did not, and some people are going to be listening to this going, nah, they talk. Nope.
Wow.
Jen was gone for a little over a week. We didn't talk during then. We barely talked earlier this week. We didn't talk about any, and before we started this, we didn't really talk at all. We just said, hey, I'll talk to you on the podcast. I didn't know she did that.
That's super weird, because your only example is cake.
That's the only one I ever do.
So, like, where?
So what's sewing about? We're connected, Jen. It's too late. It's over. We share one brain now.
I love it.
Okay, this next message is from someone in Oregon. Hey, howdy, you rootin' tootin' internet strangers. It's Jonah again. I have a question. Question number one. I have a channel name idea. I need a YouTube channel name that's short, easy to search, and something people would remember. Okay, before I continue
Hold on. I was going to say, can we nip it in the bud right there?
Go ahead.
We're not searching channel names.
Not typically, unless you, not typically. But I understand what they're saying. You want it to be memorable.
I mean, yeah, but search. I also hear this a lot. Like, something that's going to be searched. Like, you'll be found. Don't worry.
Yeah, if you're doing good content. But
you'll be found, but that's not how your channel's going to get discovered.
No, not how it's discovered. But maybe there is a point to have a good, catchy name. Let's see what they say about this. I also want to make videos that are crazy hilarious. Therefore, I thought the name Bananas. Okay, no, you don't want that. We'll talk about that here in a second. But when I look up the name, there are dozens upon dozens of channels. There we go. Okay, channel. Okay, so there we go. So I know that Bananas is not an option. Okay, I'm glad that they figured that out before they sent the message. I also know that my current name, the Happy Channel, also has dozens of replicas, but I need to find a name before I'm stuck forever. I thought about using my personal name as a YouTube channel name, but I'm not sure. Do you have any other ideas? Bite the Hype was a little lacking. vidIQ's AI hasn't been helping much. Recently, I posted a YouTube short where I went to Target and bought Ryan Trahan's new candy Joyride, and it got 67,000 views, 100 subscribers, and 97% retention rate. That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Congratulations. Also, I love the podcast. I used to listen to it when I was a part-time janitorial jockey, but the great work. And there you go. So, channel name. We actually did a video about channel names a while back. I forget what we said. But, what would be so again, for example, they did this, he went in and he tried the Joyride thing. So when I had to come up with a name for my secondary channel that I did for a while called Travis Tries the World, I think it was just me wanting to try different things in the world. That was the whole point of it. So it's pretty easy. In a case like this where it's like a comedy, but it's not even like a comedy skit thing because he wanted to try food here. I don't remember if that's what the overall channel is, but what are your thoughts? Like, what would be for like a
I feel like we came up with actual examples for this.
We may have.
Creator.
Did we?
Last time. It's sounding familiar. I do feel like the examples were kind of corny and funny, but there were examples. I feel like there were examples. This is a tough one because this is something, I mean, you're not locked into it forever. Like, you could change your name. I mean, I just saw a creator within the past couple months that changed their name with millions of subscribers. It's not something, in my opinion, that is super noticeable about a channel. Like, people are watching from video to video basis. They're looking at the title. They're looking at the thumbnail, the value that you deliver. If you become, a face on your thumbnails and a personality in the brand, you're just recognizable by the image and stuff. Is the name the most important thing of the channel? I say absolutely not.
Right.
That's
I agree
just
with that.
My opinion. Absolutely not. I think that, you want it to feel good. You want to feel good about it, but I would just come up with something, and if you keep coming up with something better and funnier down the road, then just change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now we got an email here. And again, if you want to send us an email, it's theboost@vidIQ.com. I should probably mention at this point, there's one more episode for the end of 2024, which will be next week. The likelihood of us getting any emails before that episode is kind of slim. So the only way that would happen is if between the recording that we're making today, which is on a Thursday, and the Monday when we shoot the next video, if someone happens to email, then we'll answer it on that episode. That episode is going to be the end of the year episode. It's amazing. Me, Jen, Rob Wilson, and John, who some people have been asking to come on the show, will be here, all talking about the end of the year, all the amazing things. It will probably be a lot of shenanigans, but we will also talk about YouTube growth. But a lot of shenanigans are going to happen. I'm pretty positive.
It's going to be so fun. I don't think I've ever recorded with John before.
No, so for those who don't know, John does a lot of stuff on the main vidIQ channel, but I know John because he was my editor on the Travis Tries the World channel. So very excited to do that. That'll be next week. So definitely get hyped about that. It might even be a slightly longer episode. I don't know. But regardless, it'll also be on the main vidIQ channel as well, which is we're trying something kind of fun there for that. Very exciting times. Again, so we won't be able to do a lot of emails at all. And then we won't be back till, I think, the 6th, something like that. So, we'll enjoy the holiday season. All right, here we go. Travis and Jen, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Appreciate that. Below, you'll find some information about my channel. This email is going to be long but juicy. Please bear with me. All right, well, we'll get through as much as we can. Many people would write you saying something like, YouTube hates me, but not me, because I'd like to sound like, because then I'd sound like a beginner or a loser. I'll just say I'm puzzled. All right, fair.
Realistic.
I love that. I've been playing the internet game since Al Gore invented it back in 1990. Just joking. For those who don't know, just Google it. Just Google Al Gore and internet, and you'll see. Anyway, so all my oh my god, so all my videos have SEO optimized title, description, tags, and thumbnails. Even the file names of my thumbnails are optimized to include my main keywords. I always front load my keywords whenever possible. Try to maintain a reasonable keyword density. I understand that this won't help as far as recommendation goes, but it should help from a search perspective. I'm a communicator by trade. I hold a master's degree in business communications, so I understand the importance of writing copy that sounds natural. In spite of all the aforementioned acts, many of my videos aren't being indexed, and no, I didn't upload them as private. Let me give you an example. My last 2 videos were about the towns of Nagabao and Sibia on the southeastern coast of Puerto Rico. I understand that these are obscure towns that will cater to a very small total addressable market, but if I put my browser in incognito mode and search for a specific search term that I would rank for, as expressed by vidIQ, in the cases, blah, 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 nothing comes up. And if I search Google, I get the same result. It's like YouTube isn't indexing my videos at all. This doesn't happen with all my videos, but it does happen with many of them. To put it mildly, I'm perplexed. It's one of those situations where you feel like you've done everything right, yet things aren't working. I mean, if the algorithm did hate me, my videos would show up and when I conduct for a specific search. So, okay. Any ideas? All right. So, a couple of things. I've done a video, and I think it's really important to watch in this particular case, as to how YouTube search actually works. It's on the main channel. I forget what I named it, which is probably making it very hard. I'll look it up while we're talking.
I think it's like how search actually works.
It was, but I might have changed the name because it wasn't getting a whole bunch. I think some people think they don't care about that subject, even though they probably should.
Even though they do.
Even though they do. So let me find the video name first. Because I want you to watch that video, because the point of that video, I changed the name to how I ranked #1 in YouTube search without making a video. That's the name of it on the main channel now. And it's true. I was able to rank for a search term that I never made a video on, because I understand how YouTube search works. And I talk about it pretty explicitly in this video, so I'm not going to go over that again. I'll just briefly touch on it. But the reality is this. It's not necessarily that YouTube isn't indexing your videos. It has more to do with the way YouTube search works. If I quickly look at your channel, which is like, it's a channel about Puerto Rico, right? It's going to have a lot more to do with the videos that people have watched before the video that you have first. So in other words, YouTube will try to figure out what the video is about, but without any views, it's going to have a hard time. So what it's going to look at are people coming to that video, usually through browse or something, what they watched before, and then start to try to figure out between that, the closed captions, and some other things, what the video is actually about. The SEO part, as far as like trying to keyword stuff, titles and stuff, which I'm not saying you're doing that. So many people did that for so long that it doesn't work the same way it used to. Like once upon a time, you just put SEO words, blah, blah, blah. But as proven by my video, you can rank for something that has nothing to do with what the video is about. So don't get obsessed with. So I understand what you're saying, like CEIBA for the people that live in Puerto Rico in that town. I'm really sorry. I obviously mercilessly destroyed the pronunciation of that particular place. But, to say, well, my video doesn't come up if I put it in there, I get that, I understand. But the reality is it's probably because not enough people have come to that video, to your channel, that have not already watched something else versus everything else that's coming up in search. So when I search for that, I notice that there are a lot of videos. It's not that there's no videos about this particular town and yours is not there. There are videos that are about this town, some of which are by larger channels. They get a lot more views, so YouTube kind of understands where they belong. Now, all that to also say, even if right now it's not ranking in search, that does not mean it will never rank in search for those search terms, and doesn't mean you should expect it to happen right away. Sometimes it happens right away. Sometimes it takes months or years. So don't give up on that. Don't think that it's something that will never change, because if you're making good content about the thing that you're doing the keywords for, it will change. I mean, inevitably, it always does. So with that being said, anything you want to fill in the blanks that I might have missed? Besides, you want to go to Puerto Rico now? I don't know, maybe.
Oh, Puerto Rico seems nice. Should we go record in Puerto Rico?
We should do a live episode of Puerto Rico, and then see if we can get it to show up in search terms. I like
that. Can we expense that?
Well, listen, there's a new guy coming in. We can try to finesse him for some money. We'll see.
I think that patience is important, like you said. I just had a creator whose video a year later got picked up in external search traffic from Google and was getting a ton of views on this particular video. Turns out we had to unlist it because it was so irrelevant to the channel now. But
oy vey.
It happens. It happens. It just goes to show, like, that video was not even super relevant to the direction this creator was in now, but it was picked up on Google and it was getting a lot of views from people searching it. So a year later.
And I think there's a thing that's said here by this creator named Orlando that I think is really important. They say they understand that the total addressable market here is not as big. So you also have to remember that directly impacts the searchability and YouTube figuring out what this video is really about, even if you are using the same terms. Because again, and I'll say this again, you got to watch the video. It isn't always about matching the word with what someone searches for. The only thing YouTube really cares about is when someone, for as far as the search part goes, if they type something in, what they want to watch next. And what they want to watch next might have nothing to do with that word. I know that sounds confusing. Go watch the video and it'll all make sense. But thank you for the email, Orlando. We appreciate you. We hope you have a Merry Christmas as well. All right. We got another email from Ivan. Hello, Jenn, Travis, and the other vidIQ candy corn enjoyers that may or may not be present. Over the last several months, my channel has not been doing well. Videos that I post have not been getting over 20 views compared to several hundred views that I used to get. And shorts I post have been getting less than 10 views compared to the minimum 7K views I used to get. My channel's been crawling at a snail's pace since what it used to be, and I've been trying everything I do to get it back up to its former glory. The most recent thing I've done is by making a tutorial series about Minecraft Redstone. This is much easier than what I've tried before, taking much less time as I've been uploading daily as opposed to once every few weeks. Problem is the series really hasn't been doing well with more than 20 views on the best video. I'd quit and move on to the next idea to see what works. But there are two of my viewers who really like this series and comment on every video telling me, okay, I don't even think I need to go.
Community.
I love that. But you also have to look at it. There's two of my viewers. Okay, we love those two viewers. They will watch other stuff. But the question is, should I go on to try something new and possibly find something that allows my channel to grow again, or should I continue with the rest of the series for my few loyal viewers?
Did they say how long they were doing this series?
They didn't say. They also said, for context, none of my other videos have many, if any, comments. So that's interesting, because that now I understand more about why they're so connected to these people that are on every video of this series, and where they say none of their other videos get many, if any, comments. So then my question would be, what is the traffic source for all those videos and all those views before? Now, in the shorts, not everyone leaves a comment on a short, so you can have thousands of views and get almost no comments. I get that. But they said that, previously, I think their long-form content was getting more views, but not comments, which would indicate it could have been embedded somewhere, or it could have been like in Google or YouTube search, which tends to not have as many comments per view. I think it's possible that the views have changed, but maybe your audience hasn't. Which I know sounds weird, like, well, 20 views versus thousands. Well, you also have to think about, like, and I don't want to call it disposable. It's not the right word. But you're doing informational content, sounds like, how to do this, how to do that. And a lot of times when people get those answers, they're done. They don't come back. In order to grow and in order to, see things continue on your channel, You need to get people to come back for a reason. You can do a how-to channel and have loyal viewers, but it's because you're doing it in a certain way that makes you unique to others, and the personality that comes across that makes people come back. It's not necessarily, how do I unclog my toilet today and how do I unclog my sink tomorrow? Like, who cares? But
you have a plumbing issue.
You should probably call a plumber and get off YouTube. Is probably what it is. Drano might be your friend, and a plunger definitely is your friend. Stop flushing phone books down your toilet. What are you doing? I think it's more like, is Joe the plumber a cool guy that I want to hang out with on YouTube? And he just has funny stories and stuff. I think that's more of what it is. You've had like how-to channels and stuff, right? You've coached some how-to channels or whatnot, or instructional. What do you normally tell them?
I give them a lot of homework and a lot of books to read.
Well, by the way, your homework segment was pretty popular, so we need to do that again at the end of this episode.
Oh, it's so funny. I have a whole homework thing written up from my week off last week. I gave all of my creators more homework than they could ever possibly accomplish in 1 week.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, we have
optional homework. But let me tell you, every person who did, one or more of the exercises had a massive light bulb moment.
Oh.
So crazy. So, YouTube homework works.
Okay, well, we're going to do that because they're going to have a whole holiday to do the homework. So let's not forget to do that before the end of this episode. My fear is that we will forget.
Probably.
But what would you tell a how-to channel to get a real loyal audience?
It's super important to, understand the traffic is going to be different no matter what. They need to study storytelling. Absolutely. Because there is a story behind every how-to. It's not just step by step by step. It's the larger picture as to why are you teaching what you're teaching. And there's tons of story structure to study there. I think that this is definitely a much more advanced thing on YouTube. This is not something you're going to be able to tackle as you start a channel, because you need to kind of figure out how to make content, how to be in front of a camera, how to, even just get the how-to portion done. But once you start to really lean into storytelling and the deeper story behind the how-to and connecting with that audience, learning how to connect with the audience, these are definitely more advanced skills that also take a long time to actually execute on. And the first times are usually quite funny. Very funny. I can even say that my first attempt at intentional storytelling is probably one of the cringiest videos of my life.
Oh. Well,
what? No, we're
do
not
tell.
screen sharing it.
Do tell. Tell us about it.
Storytelling is so funny because when you learn story structures and you see these big words like stakes and the climax of it, and you think that the story all of a sudden has to be this life or death moment. You're standing at the edge of a cliff and you're like, do I jump into the ocean or not? Where it's no, not every video is like that. Where it's you could just be, learning how to use a smoker because you don't want to spend a lot of money on takeout and you want to be able to make good food for a family picnic that you're hosting. It can be so simple as that, but obviously there's going to be a lot of trial and error with you learning how to use said smoker. And that's where you really get those ups and downs and that relatability. Everybody's failed at things. Everybody's gone through things. So it's not necessarily how to use this smoker, but it's the story of connecting those dots through that process. But it can be simple. It's often your first time trying to truly tell a story is overdone and hilarious.
I agree with this. And I think that storytelling can be I don't want to say controversial, but certainly intimidating. But it is kind of necessary in some way, because that's how humans get entertained, is through storytelling. And the way to connect someone, believe it or not, most things that you get really interested in, there's some type of story behind them. And the arc and all that stuff is super important. And we've talked about it here before. We're probably talking about it again in 2025 for sure, because it is really important. But again, if you are a how-to or educational channel, there is a way to get a loyal audience. Tons of examples of that. So just look at some of those really good examples, and you can see kind of what makes them so loved. I think it's easy to say like that. Okay, here we go. Hey, Jenn and Travis. This is Andrew from Superfit Cosplay. Very excited to listen to the only podcast that debates different types of food in a healthy way. My question with Christmas around the corner is, how do you both feel about eggnog? Okay, here comes the next war. Here comes the next war. What are you going to say?
I am freaking vegan. I don't eat eggnog.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you are vegan. Okay,
it's
good.
Literally like dairy on eggs on dairy on eggs, I'm pretty sure.
It's pretty gross.
But that's not to say that I wouldn't like try it. I have no idea what it tastes like. I've never had eggnog plant-driven days. I've literally just never had eggnog. And obviously a plant-based version is not going to be a good representation of what it actually tastes like.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I am not a fan of eggnog. I might have tasted it once many a year ago, and I'm just not interested in going back and seeing if that's changed for me. It seems like it's basically Christmas snot is the way I think of it.
Oh, Christmas snot. That's harsh. I imagine it being like a custard, but I think that's something I made up. I don't...
You've literally just made that up in your
mind. A delicious dessert, like custard. That's what I imagine, but like it probably doesn't taste like that.
No.
Christmas snot is definitely a description.
Yeah,
you should email that to a couple of companies for a marketing campaign.
I'm sure they'll love it.
Buy our holiday snot.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna throw up now. Okay, that's not my real question, although I'm curious because much like candy corn and Cadbury eggs, it's not for everyone. Though I'm sorry, Travis, given the choice, it's candy corn all the way. Although I really hope to never get any form of ants in my wallet or bag. Well, burn.
Okay.
Burn on you.
You know.
This happens. Or it
happens
happened.
To the best of us, okay?
I mean, it happened to you. So my question when looking at I have a question when I look at ad revenue. It tells me a certain number based on 1,000 views. Now, this number fluctuates, of course, anywhere between $10 to $12 per at the moment. I don't know if they're talking about CPM or RPM. There's a difference there. My question, most of my videos are getting anywhere between 1,500 and 5,000 views at the moment, but the monetization does not reflect that. As in 10 per 1,000 views would be a lot more, but sometimes those videos make less. For example, a 5,000 view video may only make me $20 or $30, which, don't get me wrong, is great. It's a nice little bonus at the end of the month when I get the payment, but I'm just wondering how it all works, and maybe I'll answer my own question. Okay, so he's basically asking about monetization and views. Now, it's because, and you might have heard me say this, it depends on if you're saying CPM or RPM. CPM is a number you'll never see in your wallet, so you can almost ignore it because it's not. It is a real number. I don't even know
why it's there.
Yeah, there's no point in us knowing how much YouTube got paid for it, because that's really what it is.
YouTube.
You made this much money. That's cool, YouTube. Thank you. I wish I knew. I wish I could get some of that. RPM is what you really want to look at. That was that came out like maybe 2 years ago or so, which is like the real amount of money that you make. That's also in your revenue analytics, which is really what they're paying you for. Because CPM is what they charge the advertiser, and then, of course, YouTube takes their cut, and then they send it down to you. And you also have to remember, after all of this, and this never gets talked about, but it's really important, especially for people in the U.S., that's untaxed, which means you have to take the tax off top of that. So people will go, I made $10,000 this month. No, you didn't. You made like 7 or 6, and then you got to pay for your own insurance, and then all the other stuff. You ain't make all that money. You think you did, but you ain't make all that money.
YouTube rich ain't so rich.
Then people think, I can't wait to make my first $1,000 on YouTube. You ain't make $1,000 on YouTube. YouTube made $1,000. You made 500 of that, and then the tax man came in and got another 150 himself. So you got about 350.
It's such a lucrative career.
You're gonna make all the money in the world. Now, does it mean you can't make money? Of course you can. Of course. I mean, all the money is.
Of course
it's great.
You can.
But yeah, my assumption is you're looking at CPM and not RPM, and that would throw you, which is why I'm glad they added RPM just a couple years ago, because it does give you a better indication of what you can get. But also that even can fluctuate and stuff, because the RPM is based on like how many views you had plus the time, plus the money paid and everything. But the reality is rates can fluctuate on a day per day basis. So that's why it's never really going to completely line up. You just got to kind of trust YouTube, which is a funny thing to say, which is why, again, it's better to have your money coming in from other sources than just AdSense. Consider that the cherry on top of the cake, but you got to make the cake yourself. 2 questions left. And this one says, the ultimate question.
Oh.
Oh, my Lord. The ultimate question, Jen. Are we ready for this?
I don't know.
We have brought our lives to this very moment.
Oh my gosh, what if they ask about eggnog too?
That would be amazing. Let's find out. Hey guys, my name is Wilson, and my YouTube channel is a gaming channel that Travis and Rob recently audited. It's called Wilson 108. I don't remember it. I'm sorry. I don't remember anything. I examine and critique video games through various lenses, such as analyzing how my girlfriend plays a particular title, for example. Oh, I remember that. Believe it or not, as the audit was taking place, I was being laid off of my job of 5 years. Quite the timing. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. This has me mulling over a more existential question. Man, are we ready for this? Maybe we aren't ready for this, Jen. This sounds like a question. All right. When should you just go for it? Oh, I knew it was coming. Given my newly unemployed status and the fact my channel has experienced a period of huge relative growth, the desire to take some time and fully focus on my channel has never been more palpable. I was just wondering if you guys have any general thoughts when it may be a wise time to attempting to turn YouTube from a side hustle to a main hustle. Ultimately, I know this question I can only answer for myself, but I thought it'd be a fun one to chew on. I think this is great. It is a good question. Because I will tell you, after I have many friends that went from part-time to full-time, of course myself and my other friends, and we all did it at different times. I think the lowest subscribe, and again, I only say subscriber not because that number means that's when it can happen for you, because it doesn't, but just to show you the difference. I know a friend of mine went full-time at under 50,000 subscribers. I've heard of one in my ancillary part of my circle that was like 15, and most people I know was over 100,000. So as you can see, there's a wide swath of that's why the subscriber number itself is kind of irrelevant. If your content is able to make decent money in all of the ways, which includes things like affiliate deals and stuff, Roberto Blake actually has like a number. He said something like, if you can save up at least 3 to 3.5 months worth of your normal budget that you'd have to spend to live, then you could probably try full time. I know some people that are in the exact same scenario as this creator. They got laid off and they're like, I'm going full bore, and it worked. I also know there's some people that were in the same situation that went full bore and it didn't work. I say, while you're waiting to find another job, go full bore for the days that you're laid off. For as long as this takes for you to find another full-time job, go full bore and then see what happens. And if it so happens that you're fine in YouTube land without the other job and you get offered a job, you're like, I don't need that job anymore, then you've done it. But if you go full bore for like 3 months and you finally get a job offer and you're like, this did not work, you're not out anything.
I feel like my advice would be the same. There's so many things. I feel like you even touched on a lot of this stuff in the last answer, but there's so many things that you have to account for when it comes to being full-time on YouTube. I would say most people can't comfortably do it. Like, you can hustle and make it happen for sure, but comfortably with, things like insurance and taxes, it's, stuff like that makes it out to be, you need a lot more. And it also is the, mental shift of like, this is now your job, losing creativity because of that, chasing views because of that, having it be a really toxic work environment because of that. There's a lot of things that happen when, a side hustle like this or something that you just enjoy doing that brings in some extra money turns into your full-time position. And it can go really well or really bad. It really can. There's an uncertainty. I know a few people who have gone full-time and, it worked and then it doesn't work. Every channel is going to have its ups and downs, and the downs are rough because you don't have any control over it.
Yeah.
And that's like a really hard part about being on the platform, which is why I say, like, you have to be above comfortable so that when that time happens, because I promise you it's coming, you're still doing okay. And like, you still have the means that you need or would have had with another job, opportunity.
What can complicate this is where you are in your life. If you're living at home, you're a younger person, then that's fine. You probably can just go, for everything for as long as you can. If you're married with kids, your string might not be as long as others. You might not have as much rope to kind of give it a shot with. So it really, again, depends on your situation. I think you look at what you can get away with and give it your all right now, because right now you said you're unemployed. So right now, just go for it. Just
absolutely
really live that life right now.
This is your moment to go for it. And if you just make your channel that much bigger, like, that's incredible. You had all of this time to dedicate to now raising what your minimum views were.
Yes.
Even if you get another job in like 3 months, like Travis said, like, great. Now you're just earning that much more money and have grown your channel that much more successfully, dedicating all that time to it while you have it.
Yep. 100%.
There's no loss from doing that.
It's the way to do it. All right. Our final email of the day has perhaps one of the best subject lines ever. Better than the ultimate? Yeah. Here it is. German sausage needs candy advice and more. Here we go. Dear Travis and Jen and or lovely guest, love your podcast. I'm from Germany and I have 2 important questions. That's the German sausage joke, right? Okay. Number 1, most important. Which candy do you recommend to order from America worth trying? This is a great question because we are, of course, a candy podcast. So I don't know what's available in Germany. Oh, I thought we were getting options. I thought they were like going to list a couple options. They're literally asking us which candy should they order. Yeah. Well, I don't know what they don't have in Germany. I don't either, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw out a couple things that I like. Okay? And then this way I'm good. Number 1, my favorite candy bar I would say is Three Musketeers. I imagine they might have that there. York Peppermint Patty is also awesome if you like peppermint. Actually, you know what they definitely don't have? What? Milky Ways. Milky Ways are pretty good. You know what I really like are like Bunch of Crunch, which you usually get in a movie theater. Mm-hmm. And the cookie dough bites that you also get at movie theaters. So those would be the disgusting, 4. Travis. That's literally what are you talking about? That's disgusting. What? They're great. Disgusting. Stop it. How are you going to call me disgusting? You eat candy corn, which is just wax. They just take candles and make little triangles out of them. It's ridiculous. That's delicious. That's 100% delicious. The cookie dough bites are repulsive. So what are you suggesting besides whatever you just said? I'm trying to think. Whoppers are not bad. They're different, but I don't even know if I know that. Well, my grandfather used to eat them. They're pretty decent. But go ahead. Sorry. Give them 4. 4 candies. I'm trying to think, like, classics. I would say like Sour Patch watermelons. Oh my gosh. I like sour candies. Okay. Those are amazing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they don't have in Nerds. Would Nerds because Nerds are like, that's old school. Do they even exist anymore? Nerds? Yeah, Nerds. They have those like cluster things now of like Nerds. Sour Patch Kids, I think, is probably Sour Patch Kids. Any variation. Yeah. For sure. Fantastic candy. But I do feel like that's pretty popular candy. Yeah. You know what was my favorite in the entire world, which actually they might have in Germany that they don't have here now? What's that? Crispy M&Ms. Yes, those were good. Crispy M&Ms were my all-time favorite. So interestingly, I actually didn't know this email was coming in. I could have asked because Alexi lives in Germany. So I could have asked him what he has. We're about to ask Alexi if I'm going to ask him after they still have crisp M&Ms over there. All right. His second question. I'm going to create a new channel because my first channel is focused on teaching German students everything about business administration. Almost 10,000 subscribers and over 1,400 videos. Thanks to you. Oh, amazing. Well, wow. We definitely didn't help you make 1,400 videos. Holy monkey. That's crazy. That's insane. Okay, here we go. The new channel is going to teach university graduates how to solve case studies, little tests, during the application process. This is most common if you are applying for a business consulting job, for example. However, my plan is to shoot the videos in German because there'd be almost no competition for it and it is my mother tongue. Now I'm wondering, if I use AI tools to translate it to English, most of them are talking head or showing graphs, should I create another channel for the English content and upload the same English content on the German channel, or should I rely on YouTube translation option, which right now is pretty bad? What do you think makes the most sense for my growth? Best wishes from Germany, from Andy. Okay, look. He doesn't speak English, right? He said it would be. He says, okay. Well, obviously he speaks English. He emailed us in English.
But it said that the channel would not be in English.
Well,
or like
initially,
it would be dubbed or something.
He's going to shoot his videos in German because there's no competition for that. So I think that's very smart. In Germany, I think English is a pretty predominant language. I think most people do, but for the people who don't, this is good. YouTube is spending a lot of money on their auto translate thing. So I'm not going to poo-poo it because my guess is at some point it's going to be very good. Is it great now? Hit or miss, right? So then what happens in the future? What we don't know, and this is why this answer, I can't give like a solid answer right now, because what we don't know is how long it's going to take before it is good and how it's going to affect how recommendations work cross-language barrier. We don't know if English videos will finally start being recommended to countries that don't speak English, but because the translation is good, they get the same kind of experience from it. We don't know that. If YouTube does the job correctly, what they want you to do is make one video and they will take care of everything else. So, assuming that ends up being the case, you shouldn't have to do anything. Having said that, not everything YouTube does works all the way. In my opinion, right now, since you're just starting this new channel, just do the German thing, right? Just do that thing. You could let the translate thing do its translation thing, but I would wait because there is the possibility that YouTube nails this and then you don't have to do anything and your main channel just gets extra views. And you can always keep an eye on the CC portion, the closed captioning portion of your analytics to tell you whether people are using the translation or not. And I think maybe at some point when the audio, and by the way, for people who don't know, YouTube is coming out with this translation thing that'll do the voices. So it's not just, closed captioning. It's like actual voices that are translated. And it's pretty good when they've shown the examples. I assume they'll have analytics for those as well when that completely rolls out. Thoughts, Jenn?
I have, I've had auto dubbing enabled, except I don't speak German, so I don't know if it's accurate.
You should check out your channel and find out. No, I'm just kidding. Can you tell us
I
if this
have no
worked?
idea how to tell if it's doing a good job or not, but I do sound pretty cool as a German woman.
That's pretty cool. Alexa can check it out. He'll be able to tell you.
Like, so funny. But I mean, I don't know. I think that has a lot of promise, and I'm with you on that, Travis. I would just wait it out because it is enjoyable to watch. I watched it in all of the languages, and it doesn't sound weird.
Yeah.
It sounds very natural to watch. It doesn't sound very AI or robotic or anything. It just sounds like another voice. And it's on pace with the video. I talk pretty fast and gosh, Spanish is, you should hear me in Spanish.
Jenn talks Spanish. I'm excited to see where this technology goes. It would be immensely helpful for this channel, imagine, because it could totally change this channel's trajectory. So I right now, just do your German thing and let's see where this rolls out, and maybe ask us again in 6 months when hopefully we'll have a lot more data. All right. We're at the end here. We have one more episode for the year where we're talking, like I said, next week. So make sure you listen to that. But Jenn's got some homework for us. What is the homework for us, Jenn?
Oh, goodness. Let me open.
And while she pulls that up, again, if you're listening to the audio podcast, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you're listening there. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Why not? It's free. And if you'd like to subscribe and listen to us more, talk about candy and other various things, you should do that because that's a cool thing to do. And we'd enjoy it and appreciate it. And we give you homework for free.
Free homework. I need to start remembering what we've actually said before.
That's all right. You normally come up with some really good stuff, and people seem to enjoy it. I don't know why. I have nightmares about homework.
I love that they love that. I would say, since we talked about storytelling, I would encourage people to look up a 3-act structure. Hero's journey is much more complicated. Start with a 3-act structure and look at what that looks like and see if you can, in fact, start to identify components of that in other videos that you watch. and just see if you notice those moments. That's the simplified version of this assignment.
I like it. All right. So just as one final reminder, if you send in an email question and I mean, you probably shouldn't at this point because the reality is there's unlikely to get any questions between now and the time that we record the last episode of the year. And when we come back on the 6th, we'll answer a couple of questions, but we're probably just going to start anew. You also have to remember that people listen to the older podcasts, or there's some people are just finding the podcast and they think that some things are still going on. Like they might be listening from an episode from 3 weeks ago and they're like, oh, I'll send in a question. But of course, we're here in real time and those things aren't, where time is not real.
I also think that we should sign all of our community here to petition YouTube for a YouTube Wrapped.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible that we have Spotify Wrapped and Apple Wrapped and we don't have YouTube Wrapped.
It is interesting.
I don't need to know how many minutes of YouTube I've watched, but imagine it highlights all the creators and you're like somebody's top creator that they watched.
I would love that. I would love to know who
love that. Like YouTube, what are you doing?
Who's our top commenter? Oh, of course, they do have stuff like that now where they tell us like who has left the most comments and stuff.
Yeah, but only creators get that.
Yeah, I agree.
But like as a viewer of YouTube, where it's like you spent 20,000 minutes watching The Boost this year.
Yeah, listen, you should have spent 20,000 minutes. Really, is what you should be doing.
I don't even know how many minutes that is.
That's a lot of minutes. How many minutes do we even have? I don't know. We have a lot of minutes. I don't know if we have 20,000 of them, but we got a lot of them. I don't think we do. How many minutes is that? Let me ask Alexa. Alexa,
don't know.
How many hours is 20,000 minutes? We're going to find out here in a second. It's 333 hours. It's a lot of hours.
I don't think we have that many hours. Watch it again.
We definitely don't because
watch it all again.
We have like on YouTube. Well, so together we've done 30 something episodes. Did you share
our news?
Oh, that we're finally monetized?
Ooh.
We is monetized? Yes, we is monetized. So what makes this kind of spectacular is we're monetized in only about 30,000 views on YouTube, which some of you might be like, wait, what? You only have 30,000 views? Yes. Across the podcast, because again, this podcast on YouTube is only like 6 months old. The audio podcast is years old. Video podcast is about 6 months old. But yeah, we were able to do it in 30,000 views because our videos are so long. Our retention is so good. You guys listen and watch on the YouTube channel for a very long time, and we can't thank you enough. Like it's funny because when we'll go to we have marketing meetings and everything every week, and we'll talk about the average view duration on the main channel, on the vidIQ channel, and our channel is like 4 times their average view duration. Oh, amazing!
I'm like, oh, you guys only strong,
bro. Listen, we're killing it. We're crushing it.
Oh my gosh, we just love you all.
We are crushing it. Anyway, we'll see you for the end of year special next week. Very excited about that. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we can't wait to talk to y'all again next week. Say goodbye, Jen.
Bye, Jen.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Tube Talk, brought to you by vidIQ. Head over to vidIQ.com